It's a belief or understanding that's held in many different spiritual and religious traditions. It's a belief that within each of us there's something divine, something of God, something that's sacred. The Buddhists talk about it in terms of our having a Buddha nature. Pagans talk about it in a very different way. They look at everything that's alive, everything that's in creation as being an expression of the divine, including humanity. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, there's the belief that we are all created in the image and likeness of God. But many people have a difficult time really moving with these kinds of beliefs, understanding them, taking them into themselves. And I want to talk about that today. And as I do, of course, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel and click the bell so you're notified of future videos. Within the Judeo-Christian tradition, in the book of Genesis, the first book of the Bible, the book of beginnings, there are two creation stories. And that second creation story conveys that God bent down and formed humanity, formed the first people out of clay, and then breathed into them the breath of life. And in so doing, breathed in his divine essence, God's divine essence. In doing so, implanting within humanity the image and likeness of God. Now, many people who went to church or synagogue never really learned a lot about this. But it sort of is a teaching that gets doubled down in Christianity in terms of the understanding of baptism. Now, baptism in Christianity is really the sacrament of joining the Christian community. It's a sacrament of initiation, of coming into not just communion with God, but communion with other people, into a community. And it's believed that in baptism, a person is filled with the Holy Spirit and begins to live a transformed life based on the Holy Spirit. And of course, the Holy Spirit is understood to be the essence of the divine. So that in two ways, both biblically and theologically within Christianity, there's this belief of the divine within us. One of the first expressions of a uniquely Christian spiritual path emerged in the 3rd and 4th centuries of Christianity, the Common Era. And that grew out in the Sinai Desert, and it's referred to as hesychasm or hesychastic spirituality. It's the spirituality of the desert. And in this perspective, in this spiritual process, it's believed that our spiritual journey is letting go of everything that isn't of God in our life. Everything that prevents us from living in full union with God, so that we can lead our lives in union with the divine. And it's referred to as journeying on the royal road, because that road is leading us into communion and union with divinity. That spiritual perspective, in turn, has influenced all Christian spirituality since that time. And it's something that most people just don't know anything about. But it's very important because it really focuses on this understanding that the spiritual process is about our coming into union and communion with the divine, a divinity that's fundamentally within us. I recently had a man say to me, I understand this, I intellectually get it. But when I look inside myself, all I see is me. I don't know where God's supposed to be. And I know many people struggle with this. They're not sure what to make of it. They look inside themselves and they see themselves. And working with people in spiritual direction, one of the things that's occurred to me is that people often have set concepts of what a spiritual life should be or what the divine within them should be. And that maybe they need to broaden that out a bit or understand that from a different way. Many people think about spirituality in terms of practices, about whether you're doing meditation, whether you're doing different contemplative things. And those are all good things to do, but they don't fit for everybody. And that's why whenever I'm talking to people or working with people, I ask them about their experience. I ask them where in their life, when, some moment, some experience that they've had, that they would describe as spiritual. Not based on what anybody else would say. You know, nobody else has to see it as spiritual. But it's important that you have a sense that something happened in your life that brought you to a sense of being connected to something beyond yourself, or maybe drew you into yourself in a way that you felt like you're really in touch with yourself and you're really humming along in a different way. And that may be in nature, whether that's gardening or going for a hike. It could be, being with animals, your pets. It could be doing all kinds of different things, listening to music, observing art, being in a creative process. All of those things, every aspect of our life has the potential of being spiritual. And it's important for us to recognize when that's happening for ourselves, when a moment is spiritual for us, because that's what we build on. We have to recognize it happening to understand the cue. And for some people, that may be doing charitable work or social justice work or doing something else where they're connecting with other people in a way that draws them out of themselves. And that's where you begin building your spiritual life and begin to look for encountering the sense of the divine in you. I think in this process, if it's unclear of how to put it together, that working with a spiritual director can be very helpful. But not just any spiritual director. You really need to work with somebody who's going to focus on you and your experience rather than try to put you in a box, rather than try to get you to follow a particular spiritual path. Because your spiritual path is going to be unique for you. And it's important to understand that. So, what's most important, I think, is to identify spirituality in your life as it is, as you've already experienced it, because you have. And then really look at how you're going to build on that, because that is how you're going to find life transformation and to find that divine energy that helps you grow more fully into being the person you were meant to be. Subscribe to this channel, like the video, share it with others, leave me some comments, questions, anything. And know that I really appreciate the time you spend with Spirituality Beyond Borders. Have a really great day.